is here. How are my metal brothers and sisters doing today? The Metalcore is fresh back from Manchester after seeing WASP perform on their 40th anniversary tour, and I'm excited to give you my thoughts, my opinions, so let's get into it. I was so excited for this one, people. I had to wait an extra year as this was postponed from 2022 due to COVID and Blackie tour in the US. I thought this was never going to happen, so excitement levels were high going into this. Before we get into this review, the Metalcore must make a little confession to you guys that I was slightly late to the venue, which meant I missed half of the support band, but this was in no way down to my driving or my directional skills. So, on the night, just the one support band, UK South Coasters South of Salem, who I must admit beforehand I'd heard very little about. I'd heard a couple of snippets on the internet and that was pretty much it. As I said, I missed the first half of their set, but the second half of their set, they seemed to do a reasonable job warming the crowd up, a lot of energy. They seemed very proficient at playing their instruments. But for me, my personal taste, not for me. I just felt they lacked that bit of grit, that little something that I look for in the music that I really enjoy. So for you guys, go and check them out. UK band South of Salem. Okay, people, let's get into the main event. Blackie himself, WASP, live at the Manchester Academy. Let's run through that set. So, once the intro had all finished, really cool, set the scene. He bust in with On Your Knees. I thought, awesome, love this song, great way to open the set. But I was disappointed because he didn't play all of it. He played a medley to come out with of On Your Knees, The Flame, The Torture Never Stops, and Inside the Electric Circus. All awesome songs which I thoroughly enjoy on their own, but I want them in their entirety. I feel like playing medleys, it's cheating the fans. They've paid their money to come and see and they want to hear full songs. I know the argument would maybe be that you can get more songs that people want to hear into a set in that way, but for me, it's a no. No medleys. So, following the medley, he then played two absolute classic songs. Love Machine, followed by Wild Child, in their entirety this time. Loved it. Thought it was great. Sound was brilliant. Vocals were brilliant, which we will get into Blackie's vocals shortly in this video, but can't fault it really. Following that, though, I do have an issue with what he did next in the set. He played 3 songs from the Crimson Idol, which I have no issue with any of these songs like individually, but he played quite a short set, and to put 3 songs from one album, I know it's well stated that that's his favourite album and he loves to play stuff from it, but I felt it cheated the fans out of some other stuff that we could have heard from different albums, different eras. He played The Idol, Misconceptions of Me, and then Chainsaw Charlie. Now, I have no problem with that. Chainsaw Charlie probably for me is personally one of my favourite Wasp songs, so I was so happy to hear that. Sounded fantastic. I was rocking out. I was loving it at this point.
Long live the King of Mercy.
So people, following Chainsaw Charlie to close out the set, the absolute classic that is Blind in Texas. Loved it. Wasp leave the stage to massive ovation. Encore imminent. So as the lights are dimmed and everyone is eagerly anticipating the encore, flashing up on the screen in massive text, explains the battles in the US Congress between Blackie Lawless and the likes of Dee Snider about the parental advisory label back in the 80s. Obviously it singles out one song by Wasp.
Someone looking for surgical references to the found as well. Keeps people in business who are asking, who's he or isn't he serious about this? Those people are obviously never seen that. I mean, how can any grown man walk around with a 12-inch saw blade between his legs and take that seriously?
That song was obviously Animal. Obviously Blackie had stated that being the 40th anniversary tour that he was going to give the fans what they wanted, and that was the return of Animal to the set. He didn't really deliver on that though, did he? Because he didn't play the full song. Really disappointed in that there was so much hype about that being brought back to the set. He had the intro, which was brilliant, maybe a little bit too text heavy for my liking, but it did the job. It set the scene, it built the audience up, and then Animal flashed upon the screen. He kicked in with that to a massive ovation, only then to not play the whole song and put the real me into a small medley with it. That was disappointing in my opinion. Then, to close out the entire set, played the absolute classic, I Want to Be Somebody. I mean, that is the way to finish a Wasp set, in my opinion. Brilliant song, loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed all the songs. My only criticism is the medleys are not giving us the full songs that we've paid for. Right, people, we cannot review this gig without discussing Blackie Lawless's vocals. Now, it's been well publicised that Blackie does use backing tracks in his live shows on this tour. And for me, I'm a bit of a metal purist and I want to hear a band perform live, and that's all that they're using. But I do, on the flip side of that coin, I understand why Blackie may want to use some backing tracks that, due to his age, he can't deliver the vocal performances that he used to, or the vocal performances he wants to deliver to the fans. So I do, to a point, understand why he would use backing tracks in portions of the performance. Now, that said, for me, it felt like backing tracks were used throughout the performance. I really question how much of actual Blackie's live vocals were used during that show. There's some really obvious lip syncing errors that have gone on. So, lip syncing a lot of the performance tonight, and there were some really bad errors which really highlighted this. At times it was like a bad kung fu movie from the 70s.
Summon the commander!
Really disappointing to see that. I expected portions of backing tracks, but for me, felt like the majority of the performance was pre-recorded. People, I feel a little bit of disappointment with this gig, to be honest, because it was hyped as the 40th anniversary, like going back to the beginning. So I was expecting a little bit more in terms of performance. I was expecting maybe the live meat and Blackie biting stuff and throwing it into the audience. Those sort of theatrics from the early days of Wasp, that when you think of Wasp, that imagery is where your head goes straight away. I wanted to see some of that, and I really think there was some missed opportunities with that it really could have been so much more than it was. There was Obviously as well, there's a lot of songs that I was disappointed didn't even make it into the medleys, didn't get a play. Some of my personal favourites being Show No Mercy and Mean Man. Mentioning Mean Man brings me on to the biggest missed opportunity I think they made with this 40th anniversary tour. They should have gone all out to reconcile their differences and got Chris Holmes to even just guest appearance to play Mean Man or something like that. It's what the fans want. They should give the fans what they want. Just imagine the encore being the lights go down, Mean Man hits and Chris Holmes hits the stage. So people, this brings to the end my review of WASP live at the Manchester Academy on their 40th anniversary tour. So all that is left for me to do is to give this show a Metal Claw rating. How the Metal Claw's ratings work, they go from 1 to 5. 1 claw, absolute garbage, get out of my house. 5 claws, the golden claw, the gold standard. Doesn't get any better than 5 claws. So, my Metal Claw rating for WASP live at the Manchester Academy 40th anniversary tour is 3 claws. My reason for only giving it 3 claws, as much as I enjoyed it, it was brilliant. Really, the performance was great, the sound was great. Really enjoyed Blinding Texas, Chainsaw Charlie. But as I have said in this review, I have quite a few criticisms. A short set, 2 medleys pretty much in there. Not a fan of that. Blackie's vocals with the lip syncing and some big missed opportunities for me on this tour. Overall, a really enjoyable night in Manchester watching WASP, but I came away a tiny bit disappointed. Metal Claw out!